let's get this going. So this is
Yeah.
a finance, fitness, and
Yes.
positivity podcast. And one thing that I like to ask a lot of questions about, will be along those subjects, which I know you've seen a little bit about that before. But I have with me Tara Elizabeth O'Brien. She's a model, actress, and a really good close personal friend of myself and my wife Christina. And Tara, I'm really excited because with this topic, I don't think I've met a more positive person in my entire life than you. So I'm really excited to have you on the podcast. And we're just going to have literally a conversation. There's like usually kind of a structure, but because I know you so well, I think we can just have some fun with this. So, hey,
I
welcome to the podcast.
I thank you. I am feeling really honored that you've asked me to be on your podcast, and you're so inspiring. You and Christina seriously have been just my angels and just really inspiring me to keep going. So you're part of the positivity crew that
Nice.
made me more positive, I think, knowing people exist out there like you guys. So
Let's start. Everybody always wants to know the origin stories, right? And
yeah.
I definitely want to get into this thing that came across my desk very, very recently,
Oh.
at some point in time. But there's this, which is kind of crazy, that just showed up in our mailbox. I recognize this lady on here, so
Right?
that's pretty funny.
Oh
Um,
God.
Not funny.
Yeah.
It's awesome, by the way.
No, I know what you mean. Like funny as in like Jesus, there she is on the book cover.
Yeah. So that's what I was scrounging around to find. I was like, I just had this. I wanted to talk about it.
I scrounged around to find this.
Oh, look at you go with the science of
Uh
being rich.
and notes in the margin, people.
Well,
That's
let's talk
me.
about that in a little bit. So
Yeah.
I definitely want to get into that, but let's start with your origin story. So what got you in to what you do? So let's start there. Like, what got you inspired to do that, and then where are you at today with everything?
As a kid, I got a video camera for my birthday when I was 13, and I just started making movies. I was always a storyteller, so telling stories at the, breakfast table with my parents and extended family. And then I started making my own movies. I started producing it. I didn't star in it because I was super savvy when I was a kid and I just wasn't camera friendly. And I knew that. It was really weird. It was like,
Yeah.
it's like a knowing that when you're supposed to be in some sort of field, you just know. So anyway, so I would get my friends to be the actors and I would write the scripts and I would definitely rip off movies that I liked and I would just make my own. So I was always a creative kid. But I just didn't think I was good for in front of the camera. And then just things happened and like 16, 17 tables turned and I was not a freakish looking person anymore, which was wild. I don't know. I grew out of that, I guess. And then I just got pulled in front of the camera and I got pulled on this like random dance show in Toronto that was like super famous. And I just, again, like just by accident got into that because the little boy that I was dating, because like we're 16, 17, the dance coordinator that picked the dancers was his cousin. And she was just like, come on, let's do it. So we were just like, that'll be fun, whatever. And then I just kept doing it. And then I got pulled to do more things like that. And then I decided to just because it wasn't my thing. Like I was like, I don't know about this. But I actually had
Well,
like fans like
not to cut you
asking.
off. I've seen you dance. I've seen you dancing. So I'm just curious about that. But anyways, I digress.
I know you're just kidding,
Yeah.
but because I'm an amazing dancer. So I ended up being like a regular on the show, and then I decided to leave it like 3 years after. But I ended up, but that comes into play later on because I'm so happy that I just went with the flow. So I think I'm very much like when we talk about positivity, I'm just like, oh, this makes me happy. This is fun, and then I keep kind of continuing it until I'm just like, this isn't that fun anymore. And then I decided to like stop doing that. And then I was always writing as well. And then I went to school for writing. And then I landed a random little magazine in Toronto, and I would copy edit and I would write articles. And then someone came in that we were doing an article on like a cover story. He was a photographer. And then he was just like, he's like, this is really good, but like, why are you here? He's like, I want to shoot you. And then he had an assistant message me and we did like a little shoot on like a Sunday. And then he was like, you know, you're a natural. And I was like, I don't know that, but okay, thanks. And then he had some castings. He's like, you should go to these castings. They're like for ad campaigns around Toronto. And I was like, what the heck? He's like, take these pictures and like, you know, submit them, whatever. So I did. And then I landed both these like big like billboard campaigns.
Yeah.
And then I went like, and then I just started, that's what I started doing. So again, I went with the flow, and then I ended up getting an agent, a modeling agent with like an agency in 2015. So then I really started doing it. Like I did it full time. And then I moved to LA. I had an opportunity to move to LA. And then that's when I reconnected with Christina,
Yep.
your wife, and you. And then I ended up living with you guys. And that was really where everything kind of the magic really started to take off. And just that positivity that you speak on. Because I went through a really dark period with roommates that were really toxic. And I didn't know anyone except for you guys in LA. And I really wanted to keep working and doing, and I was going to acting school too. I got into this amazing acting school.
Mhm.
And so I was doing that, and I was just doing odd gigs around town, but it was like, yeah, a dark period. And you guys really helped me, like my wings, just like, you know, I blossomed there. And then I moved back to Toronto and then got engaged to my husband, who is a performer. And then it's kind of, yeah, it's been just probably the best part of my life is now. And I have the bestest friends now. So, like, yeah, I'm living my best life. And it
Yep.
was all because I stayed positive and I didn't give in to the darkness. And yeah, so I love this idea of this podcast because I think it's so important, and people forget about that, being positive and just sticking with, you know, your heart, and just, you know, feel going with the flow, but also feeling if it's not right to get off the bus, you know, because that's part of being positive too.
Well, what's really interesting about your story is that when I first met you, it was kind of like I am not a good roommate. I've told you this many times.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
I
yeah.
am actually not a good roommate for people because I get really agitated and irritated with people. So it's I've had some good ones, but I've always been kind of the bad roommate. But when we met you, you say you were in a dark place, but no one would have thought so from your energy and just who you are. You were a very positive person. So I would never have guessed that was like your dark time. And I mean, I know you were going through some challenges and having some bad
Yeah.
roommate situations, and that was kind of an odd thing, and you had to get out of there. But it was like a no brainer. I was like, hey, if we can help this person out and she can stay and keep following her dream and her passion, why not have her move in? And tough for me to say that to somebody, but by meeting you, I was like, I can actually get along with this person, so I think we'll be okay. And luckily, it turned out to work really well in our favor, for all of us, I think, because we're all really close friends now, right?
You guys were such a shining light and inspiration as a couple. I really, because I had been through a breakup, and I was single at the time, and I just loved the way you guys communicated, and just were so real with each other, and you leaned on each other, and it was just so, I don't know, it was so impactful. And so I really wanted to go into, you know, a relationship the way you guys did. And so it was a cornerstone of how of things that happened after. And I just remembered things that you guys would do, like if you got into like a little tiff or something, how to like get out of it and how manageable it can be, and it's not the end of the world. So yeah, it was all meant to be, and you guys were literally my like best roommates ever. Like
Sweet.
I don't think we didn't get into any kind of awkward, any nothing. Like it was,
Yeah.
the flow was just, it was wild. It was, yeah, magic.
You're self-sustainable as a roommate too. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I kept to
like,
myself, but like, yeah, I don't know, it was just really great. And I remember us, we like would binge Orange is the New Black.
oh
That was
man.
amazing. Remember we'd have
Actually,
like,
we
we'd
had to binge a lot of shows because of you.
have,
But uh,
oh, it was incredible. And I felt grounded living there finally, because it was like 6 months prior, it was like all over the place. Um,
No, but it's been really fun to see, your career take off and you do all these other things. Just, what people don't get in LA, it seems like it's very competitive,
yeah,
just all around. It's like
yeah.
nobody cares if somebody's successful. It's like they almost would rather step on you so that way
Oh
they
yeah,
are successful over you.
100%.
And
Hmm.
for you being with us, and also we're in different fields, right? Like, so
Yes,
maybe that made it a little better, but like
maybe.
we
Yeah.
we were just super excited, like supportive of, hey, keep going. I mean, we know other actors and models and musicians, right?
Yeah.
So for us, seeing that people can be successful, I think, giving you support and just being like, yeah, go after it. Like, don't stop. Keep following the dream because it's achievable, and it's obviously shown. There's people around us. I mean, I had Kim on a few podcast episodes ago, and she's still doing her thing and doing amazing. And she's just she was our neighbor, right? So you get to meet
Yeah.
some of these people. So I think that just keeping that goal of moving forward, I think, in helping each other, because you were the same way. Like anytime something good would happen, you're, I don't know if people on this podcast know about you yet, but you're a pretty loud person in a good way. You get so excited, and
Yeah.
like the loudness is like, woo, but I won't.
Oh, I have to say though, because Christina's friend Lauren, or your both of your friend Lauren, she is pretty loud too. So it was actually really
Yeah.
nice.
Poor Lauren.
The counteraction of that. But yeah,
Yeah.
I have this like childlike, happy like loudness about me that I can never. It's just it will always stay with me.
No, but it's that
Yeah.
excitement, I think, that keeps you going. And I'm super excited that you're reading The Science to Getting Rich, because I was going to ask you, what are some books that you find
That's
interesting? Because I know you read a lot, but the fact that I haven't actually talked about that one on a podcast yet. I've been talking
oh.
about Og Mandino, the greatest salesman in the world, because there's a quote in there I like. But what is it about The Science of Getting Rich that you're taking notes on right now, and what's
Well,
exciting
I
about
read
that
the
book to
whole
you?
thing. I read the
Yeah,
whole thing a couple years ago, and I made notes so that I can just reference it. So, like, I'm in my office right
yeah,
now. It's on my desk. So, like, if I ever need to just like quickly grab it to like get inspiration, then I do. But it's just it was integral to how I felt about money and just like that it's okay to be successful. I've always had this like weird thing with money. And so like even like online banking, I didn't actually know how to online bank until I moved to LA because I had to. And that was only because my mom worked in finance and she worked at my bank. So she could just do my banking for me. And so I was like, oh, this is great. I have my own banker. But then I was like, oh no, I don't have any relationship with money. And that's one of the things that you kind of have to understand. So, like, when I lived with you guys and you being in finance too, it was very much like I had to like it. And because it's like you have to have a relationship with it in order for the flow to happen. And so this book really helped me to like move forward to enjoy banking and enjoy numbers. And
yeah,
then when I got married, I'm the one that does because like you also have to figure out what you both are doing as like a couple. And so I'm the one that manages the finances and goes in and pays bills and stuff. And I had never done that before. And so I think it kicked off with like how you were approaching it, money, and how you would talk about it and things like that. And I think that's important. And it doesn't mean you're money hungry or you're like greedy or
no,
anything. It's just you have to have the relationship because it's the thing that will make you like get things to make you happy and to explore whatever thing you want to explore.
it does. I think one of the things about finance, fitness, positivity was that I feel like these are the three things. If I were to pick three things in life that can give you success, happiness, whatever you're searching for. One, financial. I think that book is great because from a financial standpoint, it's not just about sitting around and dreaming that you're going to be rich. That's not what the book says, but you do
No,
have
it's
to have
not.
a clear vision, and you have to have a mindset, right? So there's that. And then you have to learn how to handle finances and money. And you could take a bunch of courses and but you have to understand how it works in this world, because we are tied to that,
Yeah.
pretty badly. And then when it comes to the fitness side of things, it's always about, there's a mental fitness, not just the physical fitness of being able to move around and do things, but like you have to be able to pull yourself out. And I think the book talks a little bit about that too.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
It does.
obviously the positivity is positivity.
Yeah, it talks about balance and that like the universe wants to give you everything, but you have to go halfway. So that's the other thing. And that's a big takeaway from that book, is that, like what you just said, you can dream and stuff, but you can't be in dreamy mode all the time. And you have to like work, and like at least 50%, like go in and do it. And then the universe will open the doors or whatever. Like, it's really weird to say that, but it does happen. Like, so you have to do the work.
Give me an example or some type of story of how the universe has just opened up some doors for you, because I know it happens a lot to you. Maybe give us a couple examples of how like it just works out.
Yeah. Well,
besides, the upgrade suite in Paris, that's a different story for another day.
The what?
The upgraded suite in Paris.
You're still not over that. That's
I
great,
think that
right?
we thought that was, I mean, like, okay, not to go into that story too much because it just makes us sound really, really bad.
It's just, honestly, I was so overwhelmed. I cried in a ball on the floor.
I'll just preface this. So when Christina and I found out we were having a baby, we decided to do a baby moon vacation. We went over to Paris and we brought our best friend Tara, and it was her birthday. And the hotel we stayed at ended up giving her an upgrade to this awesome, amazing suite that when you,
it was a palace. It was a palace room. It was
you were looking at the Eiffel Tower and you're just bawling.
And the Tuileries, the Jardin de Tuileries. Like,
yeah, amazing.
I literally was weeping because you guys you still were traveling, and I had got there earlier, and I was literally in a ball crying. I've never seen a hotel room that gorgeous in my entire life, as well as the view. And also, like, I'm a sucker for, like, I'm an old soul. So I like love when the windows open and you can sit on the window ledge without like things being shut and glued and whatever they do to these things.
Right.
And so I opened it and you could smell Paris, and it smelled gorgeous. Like, it did not, like, we were just in this you guys basically have like ruined me in the best way. Like, I only stay at that hotel now. And my husband's gonna be very happy when when
you bring him out there.
Yes, I did this, but really, I'm just piggybacking off of your amazing trip. You guys, your itinerary was 1,000 out of 10.
We go all out. So we do a big trip every few years, and we go all out. We don't half-ass anything. It's like we want to get the best experience we possibly can. It's going to cost us more, and we understand that, but we do it with a purpose.
But there's the finance there. You do it with purpose, but you also, like, I feel like, do it as if it's your last day, like your last weekend, because you don't know when you're ever going to be back in those places and spaces. And so I think it is integral and important. Like, it's super important to honor that and honor time, because time is the most precious thing we have. It's the most commodity that, and so to do it and do it the way you want to do it, and just do it like, in a queenly way, in a royal way. Yes, do that. I don't like, that's because now literally that I have, like, I just put on, like, I bought this at the hotel, and it reminds me of Paris, the smell. And like, I sit with those memories. And that's the thing, is you have those memories to take with you. So,
I definitely want to get back into your story, but I will say this, the reason why we do that, Christina and I, and I know you do too, but we all work really hard, and you need that like recalibration, and it just helps us get back into the mindset and get back, fully refreshed. Like, it's that we pamper ourselves, we don't do it all the time, but we do it once in a while. And when we go out big, and then we're recharged. And when we get back, here to the US and we start working again, we're right back into, all systems go mode. But let's
it's all about balance. It's all about balance. And I think that is the whole point of this podcast, is to understand that balance.
Yeah. My first guest actually said that too. She goes, I think what you're searching for is balance. I go, yeah, but that was too easy to say. I like the three.
Yeah, no, of course.
I like the three things. All right. So yeah, let's get into one of your stories of, or just an example of how things have kind of opened doors for you because you're a
Well,
big
yeah.
believer in the universe. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Well, it started from just like I said, like I got thrown into it. Like I'm working and then this photographer is like, "Oh, you need to do this." And I'm like, "Okay." And then all of a sudden I'm shooting and I'm in the space that I should be in. And then even in LA, like within the first week, this is before I met you guys there, but the first week I had found an acting school. I found someone to help me get auditions and things like, and it was all like super legit. And it was just like I landed, and I think it's just this energy, this like magnetism, I don't know, but it's like pure. And I'm also very straight, because like forward with people, because I don't know, my
You are.
parents, so I don't do anything sketchy, or I don't do anything that would be not with integrity, if that makes sense. And so everything that I do is up on the up and up.
You have a couple good qualities. I mean, you're a pretty person, inside and out. You're confident with your abilities. You're always forward thinking. You're always thinking about the future. So when you meet people with that charisma, really, I think it's easy to make those connections with other people.
Yes.
How did you wind up in the Philippines?
So yeah, so in the Philippines, that was online because I started, so before I got an agent, I started doing my own work. So after I got those
Yeah.
big campaigns and billboards around the city and subway ads like all across Toronto, I decided to just do my own thing because I was like, I don't want to be with an agent. I can do this, but like really team is very important for me, and I didn't understand that. I was like kind of
Yeah.
like me against the world, and it was the wrong way to think. So I also had to adjust that and like create this team. And again, like by living with you guys, you helped me understand this team at like atmosphere, and so that's what helped me go further, was being more of a team. But anyway, during that time, I was just sending out pictures, and then I also was doing pictures with photographers, and so I was just doing a lot of photo shoots and getting a lot of things, different looks, different things, like just working my ass off and not necessarily getting paid either.
Yeah.
Just and again, my parents, I have to like thank them too for supporting me. They don't know anything about the industry at all. They're in finance and law and whatnot, and they supported me with having like a roof over my head, and I didn't have to like struggle in that way. So I could really just like go and just like shoot and shoot and shoot, and not necessarily always get paid, but get pictures to like move forward things. So anyway, so I sent my pictures, and then to, I guess, the casting for in the Philippines at Bigfoot. It was this production house that did modeling and movies and things like that. So they ended up flying me over there, and I did like a 3-month stint there.
Yeah.
And that's how I met Christina originally. And then again, universe provides. I was in a really sticky spot where I had to move back to Toronto or stay in LA. And then Christina just messages me out of the blue, and I haven't seen her since the Philippines. And we were in different friend groups. We were friendly, but we were in different friend
Yeah.
groups.
Yeah.
Like we
I
didn't
remember
we
that.
weren't like buds, but like we knew each other. And she, I don't know, she just like reached out, and then we hung out, and then that's how it all worked, where I moved in with you guys. So again, this
Yeah.
like very staying positive, even though I was going through a lot of stuff, I got like rewarded by the, like it's just I get rewards all, like that way all the time. So
Yeah. I
it's
see it
almost
happen with
like,
you all the time.
what's that?
I see it happen with you all the time.
Yeah, like it's
Yeah.
almost like when I'm at my like where I'm at my wit's end, where I'm like, ugh, and like it takes a lot of for me to like cry and just like have my moment by myself. Then all of a sudden something happens where I'm like, oh, this person want like, and then it just sort of moves to the next zone. So yeah, it's a weird thing.
Not to go back into that. So it was really interesting because Christina just like, oh hey, there's Tara. She was from the Philippines, at that
Yeah.
production place. And then I never heard your name. And she's like, we're gonna go grab coffee in Los Feliz. And I was like, all right, cool. And she comes back, she's like, she's kind of in a spot where she's in a jam. And she didn't have to say much. I was just like, well, she's a friend of yours. You speak highly of her. Let's go meet her. but I mean, like we have an extra bedroom. So if she's in a tight spot, I'd hate for somebody to have to like move home. But you said something that I think is key. You have really amazing parents. Not everybody has really amazing parents, but you have really amazing supportive parents.
I do.
Um, and you've been doing this for a while now, and
Hmm.
they've seen you kind of get some success, at home in Toronto.
My parents were a little bit with the Philippines there, and like I didn't know about sex trafficking back then, but like that could have been something really dark. That could have been like, and it's just me
Yeah.
going, by the way, like it was just myself. So it
Yeah.
was like, the end, because then they flew me to Korea, then Korea to the Philippines. And so anything could have happened, but it was legit. Like, again, I had protection. I feel like I have protection no matter what I do. And that's what, yeah, like I'm supposed to do. This is what I'm supposed to do, like 100 billion%. Because I'm sure I should have died by now.
um,
Like, but yeah, no, my parents were very like but they had to let me go. They had to. And they looked over the contract. Like my dad looks over all my contracts and stuff.
yeah.
And so I do have that backing. But yeah, that was a bit of the LA was easy because it's the US, and I mean it's not too far from home. So they would always like check in with me, and I just personally didn't want to have to like go back to Toronto because of something minor that made no sense to me. Like it
Yeah.
would, like it was just like it seemed like that's futile. Like why do I have to go back? So, but then I didn't have to. So that was great. But the Philippines, yeah, but their support has been just beyond. At first they didn't support me. They were very much like they wanted me to get like a finance job and stuff, and I worked at my mom's bank for like a summer break thing.
I didn't know
And
that. That's
I
interesting.
did. That was one of my first jobs. My first job was working at Hudson's Bay. And I was a sales associate, and I worked in a very high end area, and I made no commission. And so that was that. That didn't work out. I was awful because I just don't like to be bugged when I shop. So I wouldn't bother people, but you have to bother people because you're on commission. That's your job. But I
Yep.
was like, no. So that, and then my second job was working at the bank for the summer break, and that was mind numbing. I was like, this is not. I tripped the alarm. That was funny. So they thought there was a bank heist that was going on, but it was
Of
just my
course you
knee.
did.
Yeah, of course they did. Just my knee.
It sounds like you.
Yeah, so that they hated me basically. So that didn't really, because I was just like whatever. But yeah, so my parents wanted me to do all that, and none of it was working because I wasn't supposed to do it. You gotta again,
Right.
like, you can't go against the flow because it'll never work. That's the other thing that I think is really important to know is that just because you have a dream, it doesn't mean the dream is what you're supposed to do, by the way. Like you really have to pinpoint what you're really good at. What are you really good at? And what is just a joy, and what like sets you on fire when you're like in a passionate, awesome way. That's what you should be doing. And if you're successful at it, you should be doing that.
There you
Like,
go. That's what I'm talking about.
yeah, like straight up. Like just because you're like, I want to act and I want to be in a movie, it doesn't mean that you should be. Can you read well on camera? Like, do you look good? Like that's the first thing you gotta look at. And like me as a kid, I knew I didn't. So it was like it was so weird that I knew that. And then I grew into looking okay on camera.
Well,
So that was all just like a fluke, really.
you could have
But
character actors, right? Like there's a lot of people, but I think gosh,
yeah, I was
the world's
just,
changing, right?
yeah, I guess. But I just mean I don't think I could even have been a character actor. I was just so like nobody. It was like a nobody look. Like I just looked like it was hard to explain. But and then anyway, the point is that my parents saw all of the billboards and stuff. And my mom had to take the subway to her bank at one point, and she was like seeing me everywhere, and I was doing it by myself. So they were just like, "Oh my god!" To get that amount of like, uh,
Exposure.
yeah, it was like by myself. They were just like
Right.
shocked and proud, and like they were just wowed. So after that, they were like with me. They were like, okay, you need a roof over your head. You're gonna do what, okay, we'll just watch you and do your thing.
I want to pivot to something else, but I did want to touch upon you said something like you may not be cut out for it. So if your passion's entertainment and you're not good on camera, or you can't read, or you know not you can't read,
Yeah,
but you're not
like
able to
reading
read the
well,
script, or you know whatever it
reading,
takes to be an
yeah,
actor,
it's like how
right?
you look on camera. That's the big
Yeah, I
thing.
mean
So,
it's a big business, and people don't realize that. They just think they're
yeah,
entitled to be an actor or an actress, and that's not
yeah,
necessarily true. People actually study and work hard to do that as a profession because it is a
yes.
business. But maybe you're a good writer, or maybe you're good behind the camera, or maybe you're a good editor.
Yeah,
There's
like
like if entertainment's
exactly.
your passion, find your passion. I found that with various other jobs. I would be at a job or a role or whatever, absolutely sucked at it, and
Yeah.
then just realized that this isn't what I was meant to do. Or, you know, I've done a bunch of different things in life, and then it's like I'm not passionate about it, you know. So I'm going to start doing things that make me happy. The whole thing about this isn't about me, but the whole thing about the new
No.
company is because I was passionate about doing all this stuff, and it was exciting, and that's why it all started. But you know, I want to, given our time left, what's the future of Tara? Like, what is Tara? Where do you want to go? Where do you see
Yeah.
yourself?
It's this whole vibe of the flow. Like I ended up creating a production company when the world shut down during 2020. My business partner, but she was like a friend of mine, Lauren, she was already producing for like 10 years at that point, and she's like, let's just, because nothing was happening. And again, my hobby, I just like making things and making stories and stuff. So like my job is kind of my hobby too. So I know that's like, I mean, now I have a dog, so I can do like dog training and stuff, so I can really balance. But like I just want to keep doing stuff. And when you couldn't, I was just like, ah, and she was like, ah, because she likes that too. So we're like, let's form a production company and make impactful, mindful stories to inspire people to keep going. So nothing that's like, you know, no horror films or anything to scare people, or just like, you know,
Right.
dumb scare tactics. Someone else can do that. It's fine. But we want to make stories that have impact and that can literally inspire you if you're in a dark place or whatever. So then that's what we started doing. So during the time when you couldn't do anything, we were like, okay, we're crafting, you know, the story that I had, when I was living with you guys, I came up with this story with my husband and I, and about music and culture, because music stories sell too, because also there's the finance coming in. It's like, well, what will sell, but like what, because like what can get somewhere so that people can get inspired? Okay, well, we have to create something that is saleable. So we came up with Quiet Noise production, like media, Quiet Noise Media, and it's a production company. And again, back to the finance, we had to open up, you know, a container. We had to have it. That's the other thing that it talks about in the Science of Being Rich,
Yeah.
is having a container to put that money energy in. And if you don't have a container, then it's just floating, and the money isn't going to be able to come to you if it has nowhere to like a place to like land. So that was another like big thing. So we created this container. We have this like, you know, company now, and it's amazing because now like Lauren's freelancing and she's an executive producer and a producer, and then we're still, you know, crafting our stories that we have. And we have a music docuseries that I spoke on, and then we have another 3-part docuseries about some other things that inspire, and then also, so that's like that one aspect future wise. So we
Yep.
don't have anything that's out there yet, but we are
You're
working
working on
on
it
it, and
in
we,
production.
yeah, the momentum, and we are still mining all of that. And
That's
then in
awesome.
2019, just before the world shut down, my dad's very, very good friend that he worked with, his son has a factory and a company that does skincare. And so he asked me in 2019 if I wanted to start up a skincare line, because they really wanted to do like more of a luxury brand, because they do a lot of other skincare
Yep.
lines. And so he was just like, yeah, your skin is crazy, what do you do? And to be fair, every time I go in to do shoots and makeup artists are always like, oh my God, they're everyone's always like complimentary, which is really great. I do work on it though. Again, everything is like this work aspect where you have to like, do something. It just isn't like that. So
Right.
anyway, so I'm developing, again, COVID cut that down. So we just started like last November. And so we're working on my skincare line, and it's going to be really interesting. There's a lot of cool, I want to add like, all natural ingredients and things like that. And then to what also like is really fun is that the skincare that I'm working on, the skincare line, and I'm in trademarking, by the way, too. I've trademarked but like it takes 2 years, like there's like a
Yeah.
process.
Takes a little bit.
Yeah, it's really
Yeah.
cool. So that's in the process. I've already done the legwork on that. So, but what I decided to do, because now we're all working together. So Paul, who has the factory, he has sources where he gets these ingredients. And I said, well, all the ingredients that are going to be in my skincare line, I'd love to do mini movies for the website so that people can see where we get and like source our materials and how it's
Yep.
sourced and how we help the people that are sourcing it. So like one of the ingredients is shea butter, like so many other companies, but the shea butter is from this small village in Africa. And so we want to go there with my production company and create these little videos to showcase what we're doing there and how we're helping the economy over there, and what the process is like. So there's my
Yeah.
storytelling coming through, and using that, aspect of my production company into, the skincare. So it's like never ending.
I remember you talking about the production company, a few years ago. So it's exciting to see that you've come a long way. You got it. And then I remember we were talking about the skincare line as well. So what's really cool about that is you can put your production company to work, producing things, to help market the skincare line,
Yes.
which is awesome. So all that kind of ties together. And you're right. You have to have, you call it, a bucket, some type of mechanism for you to make money, right? Like with
Yes.
going along with your passion, and your passion, you started with from early on, just having a camera, and making
Turning it
stories
on.
and producing
Yep.
all that fun stuff. And now, you can do a little bit of everything because you've actually honed those skills over the years as well. Right. So
Yes.
that's what's really intriguing about, who you are and what you're able to do and accomplish. So that's pretty cool too.
Yeah, no, it is one of the things that if you're meant to do this, you just do it. Like that's the other thing is I just, because of all the practice, like you're saying, since I was a kid, being in front, being silly, or being behind, I know how to move around a set. Like I just knew before I knew, like I didn't need to get like taught that. And I know my cues, and I know like the director directs me. And if I'm like overly like too big, he's like, make it, just as an example, just dial it down. I can dial it down.
Yeah.
But I want to see what parameter they want. And then I'm very good at taking directions. And and then also like, even in modeling, like if they like a certain move, then I'm like frozen in that move, but like I move around, and like, I'm like, it's a natural thing. And so, but it's very, very difficult. And like, just to wrap this up is that, like what I was saying about the dance show, even though like I looked silly a lot of the times, and the costumes were like, because you had to wear different outfits, and like, but it was like, it's an iconic show actually. And I learned that it didn't matter. Like I could look silly in front of camera, and like, across Canada saw it, but then it was just like, okay, so I don't know, like I just got very comfortable in front of the camera. And then that's how I ended up meeting my husband, was through that show that I didn't even want to be a part of. It just fell in my lap and I went with the flow. And then my future was in that flow. So I would definitely say to your listeners that, yeah, follow that flow. If you feel good and it feels like fun, and you get an opportunity, do that. If it feels like I'm gonna die, don't do that. But
Yeah.
but like that's that, because you never know where it's gonna lead to. And if I didn't do it, and I was like too nervous, or like, oh, I don't want to do this, or like this is dumb, then I would never have met my husband. I mean, maybe I would have, because I guess we're soulmates, but like, yeah, that's how I met him. And full circle, actually, I did a show called The Marilyn Dennis Show, and she's like retiring this year. But I was doing a fashion segment. So like you just walking out like with a stylist like styles you, and then you're a model and you walk out for daytime. It's daytime television. And that's where my husband and I met. So it was cool because I ended up doing a job and I was getting paid and I was working right back where I started, where like
Wow.
we met and where I started in the building of that, where I did that dance show was literally where we shot the Marilyn Dennis show. So it was like this full circle moment. And I cried. It actually brought me to tears because it was so poignant. It was like I was coming back, but I was like, I had done so much. And then I had, I have a husband and, my love, my true love was that it was just like this beautiful moment of me being like, wow, I'm back here, but in a different way. And I'm getting paid. And I don't know, like it was just really cool to be back in that building.
Actually, that's pretty cool how things can come full circle like that. I know of other examples that I know we won't have time to get into, so we'll just have to do it again another time. But what I wanted to ask you, and you gave some good advice actually in that last segment, but for you, when you need to get grounded again, recenter, refocus, is there any one place in the world that you like to go to that you can just, recalibrate? Well, let's start there if you have one. And then
Yeah, well, I mean, in Toronto, it's kind of, I don't know, I don't really.
Doesn't have to be in Toronto. It could be anywhere in the
world.
world.
I was just going to say where I recalibrate is really like and magic starts to happen is when I go back to LA. And when I climb the rocks that you introduced
me to.
Those rocks literally have spawned so many things. Get it spawned, Spawn Ranch, which is like right across like a stone's throw.
Right.
Yeah. So like those rocks bring me to tears every time, and I climb them, and I learned how to rock climb. I went out of my comfort zone and did it, and I do it all the time by myself.
Sweet.
And I literally, when I go with my husband, if either of us have work in LA, we stay at our favorite hotel, and then I drive myself out at least once by myself to the rocks, and I have that recalibrative moment where I can ground myself and feel, I don't know, it just makes me feel so accomplished to climb the most beautiful, like dinosaur style rocks you've ever seen in your life. Like it's the most glorious thing.
And for those that don't know, so exactly those rocks, there's, for a while we lived in Woodland Hills, California, and which is, still in LA County, but it's just kind of near the, it's closer to Calabasas. Most people will know that's where the Kardashians live. So, and all the other celebrities. There are these rocks at the northernmost point of Topanga Canyon Road in Chatsworth, and they're huge boulders and you can basically overlook the entire San Fernando Valley. So they're pretty amazing. I know every time Tara comes out or had come out, it was like, or at least when you lived there, you were up there like once a week.
I went there a couple of times a week. Yeah. But you guys showed me again, like you inspired me in so many ways, and I wouldn't be who I am without you guys. Really. Like you really like changed everything. And like I said, team is a big thing that I had to get on board with. And once I understood what team meant, my whole like work life just exploded, where I got, so much stuff, because you can't do stuff by yourself. Not in this business. You can't, not in any business. I don't think you can do anything by yourself.
I think the other thing we learned, so what we learned from you, and I appreciate all the compliments, but this is about Tara today. So well, I think what we learned about you is having positive people and friends in your life and getting rid of some of the like negative energy. You were in a process of making that go away for yourself, when you came and lived with us. And it helped me kind of get over. There were people in my life that I just, really needed to, not that I was going to be mean to them or anything, because I'm just not that type of person, but just like not connecting with them anymore, or just not, hanging out anymore. Just changing the people you're around and having that positive person in your life really makes a big difference. And I know with Christina, she knows she's having a bad day. Like she can get on a quick little FaceTime with you and it's a
Yeah.
different world, right? And it doesn't matter how
Yeah.
much time has gone away. Like there's no like, hey, you haven't called me in a week. It's like,
No,
hey,
I never,
you
or
know,
if like we don't connect or I'm not feeling well and we're supposed to have done something, but we'll just like we'll connect another time. But that's
yeah,
just because when you have like proper real friends, it doesn't, yeah, space and time because that's just a construct anyway. So it's like
yeah. Do you have any last piece of wisdom? And I got to share a couple of things with you after I hit the stop button, but any any last pieces of wisdom for anybody here listening from
I
that
think
you can
just
share?
make sure that, yeah, I think it's just reaching your full potential because that's still something I feel like I haven't done yet. And so I think it's important to work towards that because I think, you know, potential and getting that met and feeling good about yourself too is all part of that and loving yourself. That's the other thing is that you really have to look within yourself. And you really have to love who you are or
Yeah,
else none of this that we talk about can ever happen. Because if you don't love yourself or you're negative or you're just like, I'm poor, I'm this, I don't think I can attain this, that's too expensive. Oh, I can't have that. That's too expensive. Then you're never gonna get anything. And everything will always be too expensive. So you have to really shift your mindset and get rid of that toxic I can't do stuff. Because that's the other thing is that everybody can do anything they want that, you know, that works within their wheelhouse, obviously. Like I said, like you can't just dream to be an actor if you really aren't gonna like it's either one or the other. I just think you just need to really figure out who you are before you commit to anything in your life and just really you have to be able to look at yourself in the mirror and be like, I like me. And it sounds super cheese, but that's literally the secret.
no, I think actually that's great advice, but we're on the same page with that. So that's good. Well, hey, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for jumping on with me today. This has been fun, but you and I can talk forever because that's
Yeah.
just what we do. So, but we won't do that. We'll just have to do another one a little bit further down
Yeah.
the road.
I just want
So,
to say one more thing
sure,
is that you've inspired me yet again, and I am going to do a podcast.
you should. I was going to tell you that in about 2 minutes here.
No, but literally you've inspired me to be like, yo, this is a really good idea so you're gonna come on mine, you and
Oh,
Christine.
absolutely, absolutely.
And
Well,
that's yeah, no, I'm no, seriously. And I love that microphone. I'm already like
this is the podcaster microphone. I just need a better stand. I actually have a boom, but I'll talk to you about that in a little bit. I
I
just want
love
to thank
that.
everybody for joining us. Make sure to
Yeah.
keep tuning in. Go to YouTube, go to Facebook. By the way, if people want to contact you, Tara, is there any place they should go to contact you? I forgot to ask you
I mean, no, don't contact. Just joking.
that.
You can go
Well,
on on my Instagram is a
there you
good way
go.
for now. I am just working on getting with my acting agent. So that's cool. She is Jana Abrams. She's the best and she's like a light. You guys are gonna love her. She is like the DKO fam, like me and my
Got it.
husband. But anyway, so that's all happening. But IG, Instagram, if like for the now, the real Snow
Perfect.
White.
The real
Um,
Snow White. Okay.
yeah, the
Love
real
it.
Snow White, REEL. Ha 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 ha. Yeah.
on
Dad
that
joke.
note, I'm gonna end the podcast here. I want to thank everybody. So the real Snow White on Instagram. You can find Tara if you want to connect with her. Thanks everybody for listening.